Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Brilliant Faces with Dr. Saadia Asghar Khan. I'm Dr. Saadia, and today I have a very exciting guest and a very talented visual artist joining us all the way from Texas, USA, and that is Aisha Imdad. Aisha Imdad is a brilliant visual artist, and she's also an educator. She has 25 years of experience in the field, and she was also heading the visual arts department at ComSats in Islamabad, Pakistan, until she moved to the States. Assalamu alaikum, Aisha. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm fine. How are you?
Bilkul theek. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, same here. So good to see you too.
So, how's the weather in Texas? You're in Houston, right?
Yeah, it is quite hot right now.
Aisha graduated from the National College of Arts with a BFA, and then she also did her MA in visual arts from NCA. And before we actually move on to your experience at NCA when you were a student, I would like to ask you to tell us a little bit about when you were growing up and how it was like being a little artist at home, and where did you inherit your talent from?
In my home, I'm the only artist.
Mhm.
But my mom, she used to like to draw a little bit. So I did see her drawing some, draw from time to time, but there was no artist in my family as such. But I used to love coloring as a child, जैसे सब बच्चे होते हैं, तो मुझे भी
Hmm.
शौक था।
Hmm.
लेकिन लेटर ऑन आप जैसे बड़े होके फिर मुझे इंटरेस्ट ज़्यादा डेवलप हुआ एंड उसमें मेरे स्कूल में मेरे टीचर थे, उनका नाम था सर वॉल्टर. He was really good and he helped me a lot क्योंकि उनको नजर आ रहा था कि इसको शौक है, तो he would help me and give me different assignments and art projects and I would love to do them. So उसका मुझ पे काफी deep impact हुआ
Hmm.
at that age, young age जो होता है. And later on, of course, I decided that I want to pursue it as a career, and I applied for NCA, and I was lucky enough कि मुझे मौका मिला, मैं NCA आ सकी. उस वक्त NCA में जाना बहुत ही मुश्किल था.
That's true.
या
Right.
एंड इतना टफ कंपटीशन था.
Hmm.
और पाकिस्तान में इतने नहीं थे कोई जगह जहाँ पे आप जाकर आर्ट को कैरियर के तौर पर ले सकें उस
Hmm.
वक्त. सूर्या.
Where did you grow up and where did you go to school?
I traveled a lot because my father's job was like that. I was traveling in the पहले काफी अरसा मैं कुछ अरसा मैं मुल्तान में रही, फिर लाहौर में रही. Then my father got posted to Libya. I was there for a few years. And then when we came back, I was again in Lahore. Then I joined NCA, so I was in NCA. लाहौर में ही रही ज्यादा.
FA कहाँ से?
वो मैंने साहिवाल से किया.
You took fine art in FA? Did they
Yes,
offer it?
yes. I did it in fine arts, and
Hmm.
again it was a lot of fun for me.
Hmm.
It was never like कि को फल्ला पढ़ाई करनी है. मैं बहुत एंजॉय करती थी और बहुत ज्यादा मैंने उस पूरे टाइम को एंजॉय किया.
Your parents were fine with you being into the arts and with your talent, and right?
Yeah, I have been very lucky that way. Both my parents were very supportive and they helped me. जब भी मैंने इसके अंदर जाना चाहा तो उन्होंने मुझे कभी रोका नहीं, बल्कि सपोर्ट किया. और even when I was coming to NCA, उस वक्त NCA की थोड़ी सी थी कि बच्चियों को नहीं भेजना चाहिए ये वो, but my parents like, no, you can go and you should do whatever you want to do in life. So I did that.
I remember that, was it your khala who was a doctor?
She was a doctor and the first female surgeon of Pakistan. Yeah. So yeah, उनका बड़ा impact था मेरी life
Hmm.
पे, and
Hmm.
she played an important role
Hmm.
uh, of being a role model for me
Hmm.
beside my mom.
Hmm.
Her name was Dr. Nisar Fatima.
मेडिसिन में जाने का शौक नहीं हुआ उनको देख के, कोई इंस्पिरेशन मिली?
घर में यही था शुरू में कि यार
हम्म।
डॉक्टर बन जाओ, यार इंजीनियर बन जाओ, बस
हम्म।
यही दो उस वक्त हमारे टाइम में होते थे। अब तो बच्चों के पास बहुत वैरायटी है टू चूज,
राइट।
but at that time these two professions were the only one there. But
हम्म।
I don't know, I always had a different mindset, so I said नहीं, मैंने तो आर्टिस्ट ही बनना है। तो
हम्म। हम्म।
I just worked for it.
Well, you were an artist. You were born an artist, right? Were you like drawing and doing stuff ever since you were a child?
Yes.
हाँ, तो फिर तो that's it. हाँ.
Scribbling around in my notebooks or drawing, and my mom used to get me a lot of sketch pads to keep on working on them. So yeah,
हम्म.
nobody ever stopped me also कि ये नहीं है कि तुम ये क्या कर रही हो, चलो ये पढ़ो या वो करो। I mean everybody just supported it कि अच्छा इसको शौक है, और दे दो इसको ये और करे।
Lovely. अच्छा, लेकिन schooling तो फिर was all over the place then, right?
Yes.
Because of your father, who was in the military, right?
Yeah, he was in the military, but later on, he also was working in the Foreign Office for a few years on deputation.
And that's how you ended up in Libya.
Yeah, yeah.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was good.
Hmm.
Actually, that was the place from where I started realizing that obviously that you go out of the country, your mind opens up, you see new things, and you see different cultures around you, and they do have an impact on you.
Hmm.
And I was at in my teenagers at that time, so of course that was a impactful age, and I did learn a lot at that time from my experience over there. And of course, that also helped me in understanding कि डिफरेंट कल्चर्स, डाइवर्स कल्चर्स में किस तरह से डिफरेंट लोग रहते हैं, और
Hmm.
उनके साथ आपका इंटरेक्शन कितना इंटरेस्टिंग और इम्पोर्टेंट हो सकता है।
Hmm. And siblings?
We are three sisters and a
Okay.
brother. Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
none of them are artists? Are you the only one?
Yeah, I'm the only one.
है, तो वो क्या करते हैं? Like, are they doctors or something? किस
No,
फील्ड में?
my both my sisters are housemakers,
ठीक है.
and they
Hmm.
decided not to do anything.
Hmm.
My brother is in army. You know, he just retired few about a year back.
And you have two children.
Yeah, I have two children. Yeah, both of them are here,
Hmm.
and my daughter, she works for Walker Museum
Okay.
in Minneapolis,
Mm-hmm.
and my son, he is studying computer science right now.
And your husband's a lawyer, right?
Yes, so he travels to between Islamabad and Houston quite often.
Well, he should, right? Because you're there. So
Yeah,
let's go to your experience at NCA.
yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. तो NCA join किया, admission हो गया, फिर how did it go?
NCA, I would say, was part of my formative years. उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा learn किया,
Hmm.
और मैं समझती हूँ कि आर्टिस्ट बनने में जो सारा जो पूरी जर्नी है वहीं से स्टार्ट होती है बेसिकली,
Hmm.
क्योंकि उस टाइम में इतना कुछ लर्न करने को मिला, और हमारा एनसीए का एक माहौल भी ऐसा है कि यू लर्न फ्रॉम योर फ्रेंड्स एज वेल एज योर सीनियर्स, एंड or everything around in NCA is so creative that you're in that that bubble which is so creative, and you are just absorbing everything in it and you're learning
Hmm.
constantly. So I think that time was really important, और उसमें मैंने बहुत कुछ लर्न किया. एंड एज एन आर्टिस्ट जब लेटर ऑन मुझे कई दफा रियलाइज हुआ कि ये उस वक्त सीखा था तो अब उसका फायदा हो रहा है.
अच्छा, तो कोई फेवरेट टीचर्स थे या टीचर्स हु मेड एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन यू
ऑफ
इन
कोर्स
पर्टिकुलर?
बहुत सारे टीचर्स थे जिनसे बहुत कुछ सीखा. एंड आई वुड से कि मैं प्रिंट मेकिंग में थी, अफशार साहब थे. उनका बहुत इम्पैक्ट था, उन्होंने बहुत सिखाया. एंड देन आई वाज इंटरेस्टेड इन मिनिएचर पेंटिंग, सो मैंने मिनिएचर ली हुई थी. बशीर साहब ने बहुत सिखाया. उनके साथ फिर लेटर ऑन भी मैं जब मैंने एनसीए छोड़ दिया था तो मैं पेंटिंग करती थी, एंड आई वुड गो टू हिम एंड ही वुड हेल्प मी. एंड उनसे मैंने काफ़ी ज़्यादा सीखा इवन लेटर ऑन.
हम्म.
उसके अलावा फिर लाला रुख से मेरी बहुत ज़्यादा थी. लाला रुख later on became good friend also. मैंने उनके साथ एमए ऑनर्स में पढ़ा है, और उसके बाद उनके साथ दोस्ती हो गई. तो फिर जब नहीं भी थी स्टूडेंट तो मैं उनसे मिलती रहती थी कॉन्स्टेंटली. लाहौर आती थी तो इट वाज अ मस्ट फॉर मी टू मीट हर. ओवरऑल एनसीए के साथ एसोसिएशन हैज ऑलवेज बीन ग्रेट फॉर मी.
So your major was,
Was print making.
oh, and then you went more towards miniature afterwards, right? Because abhi you are using gouache and you're really into watercolors, Hamisha se.
But my work does have an impact of printmaking in it. You can see the
हाँ.
texture which I use and
Hmm.
all those things that. So I did use all my knowledge in different ways, and it became part of my work.
And so miniature was your minor at that time, right? In your
It was,
final year.
yeah.
ठीक. अच्छा, tell us a little bit about your thesis. वो किस चीज पे था?
पहले बैचलर्स का थीसिस था. That was of course
Hmm.
in printmaking. And printmaking के अंदर it was I named it the story around me. It was based on all the different जो myths and stories हैं उन
Hmm.
और जो आपको अपने इर्द गिर्द डेवलप होती हुई नजर आती हैं. I just drew them in my and in my work. And I did most of my work in etching, which was a bit of a difficult technique, but I used it. And that was the only time. उसके बाद फिर of course printmaking studio होना और उसके अंदर आपको काम करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. सो मैंने इतना ज़्यादा फिर प्रिंट मेकिंग में बाद में काम नहीं किया.
Hmm.
लेकिन जो कुछ उस वक्त लर्न किया उसको कहीं ना कहीं अप्लाई जरूर कर लिया लाइफ में, अपनी पेंटिंग के अंदर किया. बाद में फिर व्हेन आई वाज working, so it was easier for me to paint than to do printmaking. Though I
Hmm.
did work in the printmaking department एज ए टीचर इन एनसीए पिंडी. जब वो वहाँ शुरू हुआ था वो
Hmm.
मैंने शुरू किया था. आई वाज द फर्स्ट टीचर देयर. फिर वहाँ उसके बाद जब मैं वहाँ से मूव कर गई तो यहाँ पे फिर ऑफ कोर्स देयर वाज नो प्रिंट मेकिंग स्टूडियो. सो
इस्लामाबाद में you were there heading a whole department.
I was the one who created the first art and design department in ComSets, and then I was also heading it, and I
Hmm.
was the first chairperson of that department.
Wonderful. And how many years were you there?
Well, in ComSets in itself, I was there for more than 10 years, but the department was created in around in 2017, and then उसको उसमें फिर I was there in it for a year and a half. Then I moved to USA. So उसका बस वो एक थोड़ा सा टाइम पीरियड मैंने उधर काम किया उसके बनने के बाद. बट
Hmm.
आई एम ग्लैड दैट आई इनिशियल जो उसकी स्ट्रगल थी, जो बनाने का प्रोसेस था,
Hmm.
सारा वो सारा मैंने खुद
Hmm.
मेरे अपने अंडर मैंने किया, और उसमें फिर काफी ज्यादा स्ट्रगल थी,
हम्म।
क्योंकि एक साइंस की यूनिवर्सिटी में ये क्रिएट करना बहुत मुश्किल काम था। Nobody was ready to do it, but I had to convince them कि नहीं, आप ये बनाएं, और वाकई उसका बड़ा अच्छा इम्पैक्ट हुआ। अब कॉमसेट्स यूनिवर्सिटी चूंकि इस्लामाबाद में है, तो
हम्म।
इस्लामाबाद का ये पहला फाइन आर्ट्स डिजाइन डिपार्टमेंट है। और
Really?
यस, बिकॉज डिजाइन तो खुल गया था, लेकिन फाइन
हम्म।
आर्ट्स भी खोलता था, एंड आई
हम्म।
वाज लाइक, फाइन आर्ट्स इज सो इम्पोर्टेंट, यू
हाँ।
हैव टू गो आउट ऑफ इस्लामाबाद टू स्टडी इट। एंड
हम्म।
इतने स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो पढ़ना चाहते हैं, और हर कोई तो एनसीए नहीं जा सकता।
बिल्कुल।
सो और भी बहुत यूनिवर्सिटीज ने खोल ली हैं डिपार्टमेंट, लेकिन एंड इस्लामाबाद एज सेल्फ इन द सिटी, दिस इज द फर्स्ट वन। आई एम श्योर अब और भी खुल गए होंगे,
Hmm.
बट एट दैट टाइम इट वाज द फर्स्ट वन।
That's impressive. So, but how did you think of it? How did you start at ComSats? Kis tarah hua ye? How did it happen?
Well, I was working in NCA Lahore.
Hmm.
Then my husband was in government in the beginning,
Okay.
working in the government. He got posted in Islamabad.
Hmm.
And when we shifted to Islamabad, so I started working for NCA Pindi. उस वक्त एनसीए पिंडी
Okay.
खुल चुका था।
Okay.
But what was happening was this, that एनसीए पिंडी इस्लामाबाद से बहुत दूर है, और एक रोज आना जाना कम्यूट का मुझे
Hmm.
हमेशा प्रॉब्लम रहता था, बिकॉज इस्लामाबाद एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे हर कोई आता है और प्रोटेस्ट बहुत करता है, अगर आपको पता हो इस बात का। तो वहां पे हर वक्त कोई ना कुछ हो रहा होता था, एंड यू आर स्टक इन द ट्रैफिक फॉर आवर्स फॉर नो।
Hmm.
So I resigned from NCA Pindi for that reason, and at that time I was offered a job in ComSats, in the architecture department as an artist. So I took it. I had no clue what I would do as an artist in the
Hmm.
architecture department, but it turned out to be an extremely important time for me, because I learned new things working with architects, and of course I started उस टाइम को मैंने बड़ा अच्छा यूटिलाइज किया।
Hmm.
I went into research and started writing about as an artist about art part of the architecture,
Okay.
like the traditional arts में मेरा इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हुआ, जो कि बिल्ट हेरिटेज का हिस्सा है, एंड आई
Hmm.
स्टार्टेड डूइंग रिसर्च ऑन दोस एट दैट टाइम, एंड काफी ज्यादा मैंने उसके ऊपर रिसर्च की उस टाइम में।
Was this the time when you got interested in working with Professor Sajida Vandal, or
Yes,
before
yes.
that as well?
Yeah, she is one of my mentors.
Hmm.
And I'm very lucky that she is. And उन्होंने मुझे उस वक्त अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स में एज ए हेरिटेज एक्सपर्ट के तौर पे यूज करना शुरू किया, बिकॉज आई वाज वर्क ऑलरेडी डूइंग रिसर्च इन
Hmm.
डिफरेंट crafts and built heritage के different aspects पे। So
Hmm.
she asked me कि मैं उनके projects में जो कि ज़्यादातर यूनेस्को के साथ थे, उनमें फिर मैंने काम किया उनके साथ।
Hmm.
काफी अरसे किया, बल्कि अभी रिसेंटली तक किया है।
Just for the audience so they know, can you just tell us the name of the organization?
हाँ,
Hmm.
Trust for History of Art and Architecture of Pakistan. And I have been affiliated with it as a their principal designer, because उसमें उनका एक crafts का अलहदा सेक्शन है, जिसमें मैं उनके साथ मैंने काफ़ी ज़्यादा काम किया है, ख़ास तौर पे साउथ पंजाब में।
Hmm.
और उसके अंदर वहाँ के टेक्सटाइल्स में बहुत ज़्यादा रिसर्च की मैंने उनके, और उसकी वजह से देन लेटर ऑन I opened a small brand of my own with which again Saida Wonder is my partner,
Hmm.
called Chahar. ना चार बाग का जो मेन एम भी यही है कि हम उसके अंदर सिर्फ ट्रेडिशनल क्राफ्ट्स के अंदर काम करते हैं एंड वी वर्क विद क्राफ्ट पीपल ऑफ डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ पाकिस्तान एंड एम यही होता है कि उनके लिए लाइवलीहुड के लिए डिफरेंट मौके उन्हें दिए जाएं और उनके साथ एक रिलेशनशिप के ऊपर काम करें जाके उनको मौका मिले कि वो अपनी लाइवलीहुड कमा सकें.
And now that you've moved away from Islamabad, so how are you managing that? Like,
Yeah, that was a big challenge for me when I was moving. I almost closed Chaharbagh, but then a lot of people said, "Okay, please don't do that. We just love your work." So I hired few people. Now they work with me, and I get up in the night. I sit with them and I work with them over it. I mean, of course, it's very challenging for me and काफी difficult होता है, but Sajida Vandal has helped a lot over here. She keeps track about things के यहाँ पे जो चीजें जो पहले मैं खुद देख लेती थी अब उनको देखनी पड़ती हैं. बट यह कि जो इन पर्सन देखनी होती हैं बाकी जो कि कॉन्सेप्चुअल वर्क है डिजाइनिंग है वो सारी मैं खुद करती हूँ एंड फिर मैं इन जो मेरा स्टाफ है उसके जरिए मैं उसको पुट टुगेदर करती हूँ.
अब मुझे बताओ कि यहाँ पे तो आई नो लाइक यू वर पेंटिंग एंड यू हैड exhibitions and even while you are in the States you came back you had an exhibition here in Lahore, right? जब मूव की and you were now in the US and then there was the whole art scene and you know being an immigrant, तो वो किस तरह उसके साथ डील किया कैसे समझ आई आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कि you know what are the avenues?
I only have one thing to say. Don't get discouraged. I mean, आपकी लाइफ में बहुत ज्यादा नोज आएंगे इस टाइम पे. Don't get discouraged by them. Keep on pushing because that's the only secret there is to it. It's a huge place. तो यहाँ पे उतने ही ज्यादा आर्टिस्ट हैं और आर्टिस्ट में of course you have to make a place for yourself कि आपको कोई एक्सेप्ट करे आपका काम देखे और आपको टाइम दे. इट्स अ बिग थिंग. सो यस जस्ट वर्क हार्ड. डोंट गेट डिस्करेज. बी परसिस्टेंट. यू विल रीच समवेयर.
अच्छा मुझे बताओ कि शुरू में when you started what was the first experience that you had when you wanted to either participate in an exhibition or submit your work, or how did you go about it?
Well, I had no clue. I had no one who was telling me what to do. I first thought I should go to some galleries, but I realized it doesn't work like this over here. You have to first have your portfolio ready. And I had none with me at that time because मैं तो पाकिस्तान से एक सूटकेस के साथ इधर आई थी. कुछ भी नहीं था मेरे पास. So then I just decided कि, I have to first sit down and create some work with which I can go. I mean, just people believing me कि आप artist हैं तो आप artist नहीं हैं. You have to have work to prove that you are worth it कि कोई आपको seriously ले. So I did a lot of work in the beginning. Like फिर उसके बाद फिर I started sending out my work to different places. और यहाँ पे काफी ऑनलाइन ही आप भेजते हैं अपना काम. तो वो आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग दैट एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स शुरू में तो कभी इतना कोई रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आया. हर तरफ से डिक्लाइन ही हो रहा था. सो आई जस्ट थॉट एट दैट टाइम मे बी आई एम नॉट वर्थ इट. बट देन आई हैव फ्यू गुड फ्रेंड्स एंड दे kept on saying don't give up, just keep on doing. Somebody will say yes, and then of course somebody did say yes. And my first exhibition which I got accepted into was in California. एंड उधर ये एक ऑनलाइन ही था. आई मीन इट वाज एट दैट टाइम मेरे लिए वो भी एक बड़ी बात थी कि एक ऑनलाइन एग्जीबिशन में मुझे, बट इट वाज अ जूरीड एग्जीबिशन. फ्रॉम देन ऑनवर्ड इट जस्ट काइंड ऑफ started happening. I got started getting lots of acceptances and invitations to different places after that.
Now that you have like different exhibitions that you've exhibited at, and then you also won awards, right?
Yes, वो भी एक शुरू में जब पहला अवार्ड मिला था मुझे तो यकीन ही नहीं आ रहा था. First one was the People's Choice Award. That's like people vote for you.
Mm-hmm.
मिनियापोलिस में एक एग्जीबिशन में मेरा काम गया था. Then afterwards, again, I sent my work into another exhibition that was also in Minneapolis, and they gave me Artist Excellence Award. Yes, and that was a big deal for me because not everyone gets it, and I was very excited about it. Then later on, again, I got an award for my painting, which went into a museum in Louisiana. And over there, the museum gave me an award.
Lovely. You did this residency in Colorado, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, मेरा काम ज्यादा जो है उसका सब्जेक्ट मैटर नेचर या गार्डन्स के साथ है. So that's what I paint. Or about what I paint about. So I was interested in applying in residencies which would give me access to that kind of subject matter. So I applied for Denver Botanic Gardens. They have a 1 year residency program, which is very established and well known. And I wanted to work with them. And I was lucky enough to be accepted, and they were really in love with my work and very excited to have me. I was one of the 5 artists in that residency. And उसमें ये था कि you had to work with them for a year, and you had to come and visit them. And in your visit, you had to, decide how where you want to take your work and then produce work for them. And then in the end, if they like, they would acquire one of your works. And they loved my work and they acquired one of my paintings, which I did for them. It was called the Pollinators Garden, which was inspired by their pollinator garden, which they had in one of their gardens. They had lots of gardens all over the city. And it was one of the garden in which it was called Chatfield Farms, and they had a beautiful pollinator garden over there. So I took my inspiration from it. It became they just loved it, and they said they want to acquire this painting. So now it's part of their permanent collection.
Lovely. So if anyone ever goes there, they can take a look. It's there,
Yeah.
right? Okay. ये जो gardens हैं, इनका concept कैसे develop हुआ और when did it really start?
Well, it all began with my research work, which I was doing in the fresco paintings, which is a built heritage का एक हिस्सा है. तो उसमें I was working and I kept coming across different themes, and they were like they were about different trees, especially the cypress tree is very commonly painted there. And I was like, why are they painting it? What is there behind it, the reason? So I started looking up into it, and I came across the idea about the spiritual aspect of the garden through looking at it, that how they are used, and different जगहों पे जो floral patterns हैं उनका different meaning है. Like if it is made in a tomb, then it will have a different meaning. But if it is made in a haveli, then it will have a different meaning. So I started looking at all those symbolic meanings, and it kind of developed into an interest for me. And then once I was traveling in Swat in a project, and I was looking at the history of Swat, and it kind of developed into something like this place was considered like a garden. And उस पूरे एस्पेक्ट में से जो डिफरेंट चीज़ें मुझे नज़र आ रही थी और वो पुट टुगेदर हो रही थी, उनसे आई केम अप विद माय ओन आइडिया अबाउट हाउ gardens are very important
Hmm.
historically, and I mean not just environmentally, they also have different aspects to them जिनको आप study कर सकते हैं और उनको आप develop कर सकते हैं as your concept. So I started painting around them, and I have never looked back. It is such a vast subject. You have so much that you can do in it that I'm still trying to look at everything and develop in make it a part of my own artwork, जो कि आपको इर्द गिर्द से नई चीजें learn करने को मिल रही हैं. So and also when I travel, it's a must for me to see the gardens in that wherever I am,
Hmm.
or some kind of natural element, so that I can look and understand their ecosystems and environmentally वो किस तरह से वहाँ पे हर चीज़ है. So वो it is a very important thing, and it has helped me into bringing diverse kind of elements in my work, which in the beginning they were not there, but aista aista they have been developing, and I've been painting gardens for more than almost like 7 8 years now.
Right. And is that the direction you see yourself going into in the future, in the near
For
future?
now, I am still working with them. I don't know future में कोई और चीज अगर मुझे
Hmm.
interest दे जाए, but right now I see that there is a lot there which I can use in and learn and
Hmm.
paint about.
Acha, when I see your work, and I've told you so many times, I find it so soothing. It's so aesthetic. I mean, the colors, everything that you do. And it's so much in contrast to many other artists who generally express their emotions, and their emotions are stormy, and you can see that they're upset. So yours are very calming. So are you a calm person all the time, or is this how you feel calmer when you make these paintings?
When I paint, as I already told you, I
Mhm.
feel very happy.
Mm.
Anything to do with art, that just makes me happy. So when I'm painting, that's the place I am in. So that is something that is part of my painting. और उसकी जो एक इमोशन उसमें से निकलती है, so I guess it must be showing there.
Mm.
And being calm and serene जो है, ये मेरा एक एस्पेक्ट है जिसको मैं हमेशा अपने काम में रखना चाहती हूँ, because I feel कि nature has that impact on you. That's what we want to get from it as a human being.
Mm.
And I like to create these little windows. I say that
Mm.
about my work, that I'm creating these windows for people to go into that place and this space and experience it, what
Mm.
I'm trying to create for them.
Mm.
And so most of my paintings are like that. Yeah, I also like through my work do touch up the subject of questioning our as human beings, that how we should be more respectful of nature.
Mm.
So many of my some of my work which I have done also touches on that, like when I created that pollinators garden for
Mm.
the Denver Botanic Garden, that was it was also a kind of a of a आप कह सकते हैं comment on the thing कि we as humans have to create spaces for our little tiny friends like butterflies, bees, and even rabbits. All of them need a space to exist, coexist with us. So that painting was about that. So I created this space. I mean, I saw this labyrinth in there, and I turned that labyrinth into a pollinator's garden where you can take a walk in that labyrinth, and you are, well, being part of all these little birds and butterflies and bees and other small animals.
Hmm.
All of them are living in there, and you go and you take a walk, you become part of that. So that was one idea that was there that I made. Then again I did another painting in which I did make a mangrove uh, garden,
Hmm.
which is again about how we as human beings need to respect nature
Hmm.
and not destroy the mangrove forests, which are like कराची के इर्द गिर्द जितने
Hmm.
हैं वो
Hmm.
खत्म होते जा रहे हैं.
Hmm.
तो उनको रखने के लिए जरूरी है कि हम उनमें उनको 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 प्रिजर्व करें और
Hmm.
उसमें जो लाइफ रहती है उसको प्रिजर्व करें.
There must be times when you don't feel calm and happy, and you are not really in the happy place emotionally. So, did you ever paint when you felt that way?
Actually, when I'm feeling sad or upset or whatever, then I paint and I get calm and I
Okay.
get happy. So that is my way of getting into a better place. That place is this space within me, which is my art world. And when I go there, then I'm happy.
Which work is your favorite, or which work are you very proud of? Is there any particular work?
They're all like my babies.
Hmm.
In the end, it's difficult to say कि ये बेहतर है वो नहीं है, because
Hmm.
I just feel कि with each work you improve upon the last one.
Hmm.
तो आप जो काम कर रहे हैं पिछला काम में आपको लगा कि ये मैं नहीं कर सकी, अगले में यू वांट टू अचीव दैट.
Hmm.
सो अब मैं ये नहीं कह सकती कि वो बेहतर है ये नहीं है. लाइक सम वर्क्स आर बेस्ड इन हिस्ट्री. फॉर मी दे जस्ट they are just about some historical garden or some book or something like that, but some works are about the live gardens and then they have their own thing. So every painting has their own thing in it which is happening in it deliberately because I have kept it that way. So
Hmm.
right now I'm working on a painting which is based on a Chinese novel. So
Okay.
yeah, I just read that book and I was so inspired by the space in which that book was. जो उसकी बैक में एक स्पेस थी जिसमें वो
Hmm.
सारी happening ho rahi thi. I just fell in love with that place and I just wanted to paint it and I said I have to paint it.
Hmm.
So now I'm making my own version of it.
And how's the environment helping you out? How are things where you are? How are they different? Are they better? What do you think? What's your experience?
मेरे लिए यूएस मूव करना बहुत ही फायदेमंद साबित हुआ.
Hmm.
एक तो ये है कि ऑब्वियसली बच्चे बड़े हो गए हैं. दे डोंट नीड मी इन दैट वे कि जी
Hmm.
आई हैव टू run around and do specific things for them. Now I have all the time that I can give myself.
Hmm.
So I'm very happy in US. I am living in a way that I can do whatever I want to do. So that is the good thing that has happened for me here. Of course, I am away from my home in Pakistan
Hmm.
and my husband, but एक जो स्पेस मैंने अपने लिए क्रिएट की है उसमें ये है कि इट्स वेरी क्रिएटिव. I have my own studio here and I work 7 to 8 hours every day. Nobody is there to disturb me or say कि अच्छा अब तुमने ये करना था या अब ये होना था. अच्छा दिल कर रहा है तो खाना बना लो, नहीं तो ऑर्डर कर लो.
Hmm.
कोई ऐसे नहीं है कि जी अच्छा अब मैंने ये नहीं किया तो ये हो जाएगा. सो आई एम लिविंग माई लाइफ इन दैट वे जिसमें मुझे सिर्फ अपने काम पे तवज्जो देने का मौका मिल रहा है. which is a very precious, for me, it is a very precious thing. And I'm very happy that it is helping me into developing my work, my art into the way I want to. और अगर मैं पाकिस्तान में जब तक थी वहां पे मैं जॉब कर रही थी फुल टाइम, एंड ऑफ कोर्स वहां पे आपकी एक पाकिस्तानी लाइफस्टाइल भी पूरा चल रहा होता है, वो भी आपने साथ चलाना होता है, जो मैंने यहाँ डेलिबरेटली नहीं रखा हुआ. आई डोंट सोशलाइज अ लॉट ओवर हियर. I give all my time to my art, and I'm very happy with it. It has helped me into achieving what I want to achieve. I
Hmm.
mean, ये ड्रीम थी मेरी कि मैं आर्ट वर्क ही करूंगी, और वो हमेशा एक ड्रीम ही था until I came to USA. And I was sitting there and wondering how I will live in USA. And then it just dawned upon me, Aisha, you were always saying this to yourself. Here it is. God has given you the chance. Do it. So I've never looked back.
Wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And I can see that, your work is developing and you're doing such wonderful work. जब initially move की तो culture shock था या क्या challenges थे of moving from Pakistan?
Culture shock मुझे कोई इतना नहीं हुआ, because
Hmm.
I've been lucky. I've traveled a lot, and जो real challenge यही था कि अपनी जगह बनानी है.
Hmm.
वो रियल चैलेंज था, और वो काफी मैंने स्ट्रगल किया, अभी भी कर रही हूँ. आई मीन, देयर इज ऑलवेज वन स्पेस बेटर टू रीच, कि आपको कहीं तो काम अपना एग्जिबिट करना है, लोगों से इंटरेक्ट करना,
Hmm.
आर्टिस्ट के साथ
Hmm.
डिफरेंट जगहों पे. सो वो, यस, दैट वाज अ स्ट्रगल, बिकॉज आई डिडंट नो एनीवन एट ऑल. आई मीन, आई आई इट्स लाइक कि आप एक नए जीरो से शुरू कर रहे हैं, तो वो ऐसे ही था.
And it's because of basically the size of the country. It's so huge.
Yes,
टेक्सास
it's
में
huge.
क्या आर्ट सीन है?
हाँ, वो बल्कि अभी recently I got accepted for a solo show in Austin, which is going to happen next year. So
Lovely.
जब वो होगा तो फिर उसके ऊपर मैं आपसे शेयर करूंगी जो कुछ.
Definitely.
खातून थी, she was working in a museum.
Hmm.
उन्होंने मुझे मैसेज किया, and she said कि I want to talk to you. Can I talk to you? And I said, yeah, sure.
Hmm.
So we talked, and she said कि मुझे समझ नहीं आ रही कि तुम्हारे जैसा बंदा टेक्सास में क्या कर रहा है. And I was like, why? What do you mean? And she said, hey, you're a miniature artist and you're working in Texas, because यहाँ का art scene काफी different है.
Hmm.
But I have found कि if you work and you तो आपको अपनी जगह खुद बनानी होती है जहां भी जाना है.
Hmm.
ऐसे नहीं होगा कि आप कहेंगे कि वो कोई जगह है जिसमें आप जाएंगे और आप बैठ जाएंगे. यू हैव टू वर्क एंड टॉक टू पीपल and learn from them also.
Hmm.
And that is why मुझे यूएस में आके अच्छा लगा कि मैं यहाँ पे आके इनसे भी बहुत लर्न कर रही हूँ. ये नहीं है कि मैं बस जो लर्न कर लिया था उससे आगे नहीं है.
Hmm.
So I'm constantly learning new things, new ways. So उससे एक तो काम में डाइवर्सिटी आती है, your work develops new depths. एंड उसमें आप उसी तरह से, आप, मैंने उनको यही कहा, मैंने कहा टेक्सास के अंदर इनका आर्ट का डिफरेंट स्टाइल है, लेकिन आई एम ट्राइंग टू find my place within it, and I did. Then I have exhibited my work in Houston few times since then, and of course Austin में काम लग रहा है मेरा. तो अभी भी मेरा पिछले वीक भी एक ओपनिंग थी. आई हैड एन एग्जीबिशन देयर जिसमें मेरा काम लगा हुआ है, अभी भी लगा हुआ है.
Wonderful. It was so lovely talking to you, Aisha. Thank you so much for taking out the time to talk to me today.
You're most welcome, Sadia. It was really lovely talking to you, and मुझे बहुत मजा आया आपसे बातें करने का.
Same here. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.
अल्लाह हाफिज.